Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 101 of Off the Chest of Timothy Regal. I, of course, am your host, the most famous man in Midwest Independent Wrestling from the neck up, Timothy Regal, joined, as always, by the 7-star mind, Alex McCarthy. Alex, you're looking good on the computer screen, brother, because as in a rare instance, we are not in the McCarthy Adele Square Gardens. You are.
I am
not. Because it is snowing like crazy outside today. So, thankfully, with new recording equipment that we have, we are now able to do Skype episodes of the podcast. Thankfully.
Yay,
so that we can,
Skype.
Yay for Skype. So they should sponsor us.
They should sponsor us.
We haven't done that in a while.
We haven't done that in a while, yeah.
You know who else should sponsor us for all the plug I keep giving them is the Grapple app.
Yeah.
Plugging the crap out of them.
Did you rate NXT Takeover UK
I did
Blackpool on this Grapple app?
I did do all that. And we will get to NXT UK Takeover Blackpool in a little bit. But before that, Alex, I know.
Is this one of those episodes where you made a list and didn't tell me?
No, I didn't even make a list. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. But I feel like we're a little late to the Nitro party, as it is to say, on this because we're gonna drop on Tuesday. But last Tuesday, the day you heard our last,
that was only last Tuesday. It seems like so long ago.
Well, there's been so much discussion about it, but I feel like we should add our 2 cents to the discussion of All Elite Wrestling.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
You don't think it's gonna happen, huh?
Nope.
Okay, WH Park.
Wow.
This, I would say honestly, the biggest news story in professional wrestling since 2001. I think. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree.
This thing. I mean, this is the biggest thing to happen to wrestling in a long time. I'm super excited. Alex, are you super excited? You don't look super excited.
Tired. I'm excited. I don't know. Because, like, everybody's
your ski cap on your head looks very excited.
Oh, it is. Everybody's like, oh, it's going to be on TNT. It's going to be on TBS. I'm like, I'm a cable cutter. I don't have any of that. So, like, I really want to know what their streaming platform is going to be before I get too excited.
Well, that is one thing that's been heavily discussed. Is it's great they're going to be on TBS and TNT, but a lot.
Wait, that hasn't been announced yet.
Well, the speculation allegedly is going to be on TBS and TNT. Remember, if you say allegedly, they can't sue you. That's one thing that Merrick Brave and the Bruce.
Merrick Brave.
Yeah, that's one thing Merrick Brave has taught me on the Bruce Brawls and Brave podcast. I finally got to the point where I think I can actually say it.
What's it called?
Bruce Brawls and Brave.
Yeah.
Another shitty wrestling podcast.
And here on episode 101 of the original shitty wrestling podcast, Off the Chest of Timothy Regal.
We weren't the original shitty wrestling podcast. There were a lot of shitty wrestling podcasts before this one.
Okay.
I've listened to a few of them, believe me. Allegedly,
I say, with the exception of maybe Booze, Brawls, and Braves, I think we're the best shitty wrestling podcast.
Well, that can be said. But okay, but back to All Elite. Allegedly, there is the deal with TBS or TNT. And well, they're still talking to several networks. It may not be TBS or TNT, but I did find it interesting. Chris Jericho stated in an interview that he wouldn't have gone to All Elite unless they had a major TV deal pretty much in place. So There's deals on the table. They just have to pick out which one they're going to sign at this point.
Gotcha.
But like you said, and this is something I think that is an interesting point, is a lot of wrestling fans, especially being the elite, shout out to A&W Root Beer, being the elite hot topic pro wrestling tees buying wrestling fan that filled the Sears Center on September 1st of last year. I think a lot of those people have cut the cord on traditional cable. So And I think, as we've seen it now with Impact Wrestling last night, that Impact on Twitch was a better trading social media hashtag than Impact on Pursuit. So
I'd love to hear the metrics on that. I'd love to get a report on which got more views. Did it get more views on Twitch or on Pursuit?
I'm sure Uncle Dave will have that for us later this week, but
yeah, but he's not reliable.
When it comes to that,
no. Hold on. We got to talk about this. Did you see this? Earlier this week, or yesterday probably even, I don't know, when was the last time I saw you? I retweeted former WWE creative member Seth Mates, who said, does anybody think that All Elite Wrestling is secretly being funded by WWE to set up a future Invasion storyline? Everybody and their fucking brother knew Seth Mates is a fucking comedian. He was making a joke. One of the funniest guys who ever wrote for WWE. And fucking Uncle Dave, like, you're insane. Vince McMahon lives in a bubble, and this bubble's not even that big. And you're insane if you think he controls this, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, he didn't think he fucking controlled it, Dave. Come on now. Did you hear that? Did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that, and I found it was kind of funny. But as far as reporting,
not make Dave look like a fucking idiot, Mark.
It kind of does, but I mean, it's as far as reporting.
Also, to not know who Seth Mates is, like Dave should know Seth Mates and know that Seth Mates. There's no way in hell he's being serious.
Let's be honest, Vince McMahon doesn't know who Seth Mates is, and he worked for him.
Well, no, man. Vince McMahon's not out tweeting people.
No, but when it comes
to imagine a universe where Vince started tweeting with the fans, responding to fans.
Oh
tweets.
Dear God!
Can you imagine a Vince McMahon AMA?
That'd go Donald Trump level of ridiculousness on social media, pretty damn bad.
Yeah, I think Vince might even be worse.
That would be amazing, but no. In all seriousness, when Dave, as far as reporting actual numbers, Dave is still. I mean, Dave will have it, Wade will have it, Ryan will have it. Whoever you want to get your news
John
from,
Pollock will have it.
That news will come out probably later this week, but I guarantee you, I saw just myself because I was live tweeting Impact last night. There was a whole lot more social interaction on the hashtag Impact on Twitch side than the Impact on Pursuit side. Thus, going back to All Elite Wrestling, in this generation, you have to have some form of a digital format to produce content.
Sorry, not to interrupt you. Full disclosure, though, I mean, fucking hell of a lot more people have TNT than have the fucking Pursuit channel.
This is true, obviously, but
you still don't want to be locked into only appealing to people who still have traditional cable in 2019.
I mean, I hate to do the comparison to WWE, but WWE is legitimately one of the most searched things on the Hulu streaming service, where Raw, SmackDown, NXT, 205 Live, all those shows are on Hulu. So even if a person doesn't have the WWE network, they get all of that content. Now, granted, Raw is edited down to 90 minutes, which some days is a good thing. It makes it much more digestible. Yeah. So I think whether it's Hulu, whether it's a Twitch stream, whether it's having their own streaming service, obviously TNT is going to want to have, or TBS if that is where they end up, or whatever network they end up on, is going to.
They're not going to be simulcasting on Twitch like Impact.
And the only reason Impact is able to do it is because the Pursuit channel is owned by Anthem Media, the same company that owns Impact Wrestling. Thus, they essentially control their own digital content at this point.
Right.
But no, there will have to be some form of another way for people to get this streaming. Now, the one thing I would say is, I believe TNT TBS, and again, I'm using them as the metric for this. Presumably, them being the station, is
But
those stations are available on your PlayStation View, your Sling,
yeah, I
your
just don't
direct.
want to be subscribed to Sling just for AEW though either. Sling's
Yeah,
fucking expensive.
I don't either, and so I'm hoping and praying that there will be. And I would love it to be Hulu, but I'm pretty sure I'm guessing that WWE would have some form of a locked in the contract type deal with Hulu at this point, that they
Yeah.
can't have any other wrestling on that service. Um, like I've still somewhat shocked that by 2018 Netflix hasn't got into the wrestling game in some way, shape, or form. I mean, they had the first 2 seasons of Lucha Underground, but they did not promote it. It flopped. They didn't promote it at all.
I don't know that wrestling works on Netflix.
I think a week-to-week program, because Netflix
But there's nothing on Netflix that's dropped week to week, is there?
There have been a few. There have been a few of their TV series. And they have had a couple talk shows that actually did drop week to week. So they have done week to week programming on Netflix before. Netflix primarily sticks to bingeable content, but they have done a few. But I'm not saying it's just in 2018, especially with the fan base that you're catering to with All Elite Wrestling. I feel like you have to have a digital format for people to consume your content.
Maybe a YouTube Red.
Maybe. It'll be very interesting to see how that goes.
The one thing, and I think this is what they have to be aware of what the industry standard is for price point now, though, because WWE hurt everybody else when they made everything available for $9.99. I mean, Powerbomb TV is $10 a month.
Pretty much $10 a month is the set price point for all pro wrestling streaming services.
Yeah, and so and honestly, that's what hurts Impact's pay-per-views, I think. Because I'm sorry, I'm not paying $40 for a pay-per-view.
No, and especially when you have a streaming service.
Yeah, that I pay for.
Yes, and I understand if you're saying, okay, we can't do, or if you do like what Ring of Honor does, where I had to lock in for a year, but by locking in for the year, I got all of their pay-per-views, which of course proved to be advantageous because that also ended up including All In, which at the time we didn't even know. But and of course,
Ring of Honor's 3-hour commercial for another company that's taking all of their top talent.
Woo! Yeah. Yeah, let's not mention that one to Joe Koff. Hey, remember that time you got duped by Joe Khan? I just got a tweet like by Spider Nate Webb.
Cool. Was it about Spider Nate Webb?
It was. Well, I was watching. You did not watch the Nigel McGuinness gimmick on the WWE Network, which
I watched some of it.
Okay. Which if you have not, if you're out there listening, I absolutely recommend watching the Chasing the Dream, I think it was. But it's the Nigel McGuinness story. And I shared my first memory of Nigel, which was at the Lincoln Center in Highland, Indiana in about March of 2004. He wrestled and he had a great match. I think I want to say it was a 4-way of some type. And I was impressed by him, but after the show, we're all just kind of hanging out, and he kept trying to force Spider Nate Webb to eat potato bread. And that is my lasting initial memory of Nigel McGuinness, is him trying to force the Spider Nate Webb to eat potato bread. So I tweeted that out during the show. But,
Regal!
What?
Do you have another yellow, baby?
Dusty!
Do you have another yellow?
Dusty, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, baby. Give me a mellow yellow.
Here's a mellow yellow, Dusty. Dusty,
yellow?
Have you been running, Dusty?
I've been running, baby.
What's up, Dusty? What's going on?
Not
Why
to
you
forget,
running?
it's chasing the dream. Uh, 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 somebody give me a bell yellow.
You'll have to grab one out of Alex's fridge, Dusty. I'm on Skype. I'm not
Uh,
actually in the room.
uh, uh, you're not here?
No, you're looking at a computer screen, Dusty.
That's damn, baby. Damn. What? This is amazing. This is like WCW Saturday Night, baby. Level production here.
Dust, I'm glad you're here, though.
You're always glad I'm here.
Well, we're talking about All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, baby. I saw that. I saw the press conference. My man, it's Conrad Thompson was there.
I know you're excited.
I am excited for All Elite Wrestling. You know what else I was excited about?
What's that?
The Jacksonville Jaguar cheerleaders that was at the press conference at the rally.
You like that, Dream?
Them?
Yeah, I saw that.
I did. Whew, I'm feeling a little better now. What's going on with that Nigel McGuinness?
He had a good story on the network.
Why is he chasing me?
No, he's chasing his dreams, not the American dream.
I'm not his dream? Oh, the British dream?
Well,
you talking about Big Daddy?
No, not Big Daddy.
Big Daddy? Big Daddy, he probably catch Big Daddy pretty fast. Big Daddy can't run like Dream.
Dusty, you realize like 3 of our listeners probably know who Big Daddy is, right?
That's in year 2025 when Thomas Montgomery finally gets caught up on off the chest of Timothy Regal. He's gonna mark out for the Big Daddy reference. I'm here for 30-year-old Thomas.
I'm glad you're here, Dusty. It's always a fun time.
Shout out to 30-year-old Thomas. What's going on, Regal? Did you go to 3XW last night?
I didn't go to 3XW last night.
I was there.
You were there?
There, yeah.
You were over where, Dusty?
Over the 3XW wrestling. Dropkicks and chill. I don't get it. I don't know why they call it Dropkicks and chill, but
Dusty, there's a thing that the kids call the chill nowadays. That it's what
Cornoodling?
The cornoodling. That what you used to call it back in the day?
Don Cornoodle?
I don't think Don Cornoodle ever dropkicked. Don Cornoodle never dropkicked anybody, and he surely didn't chill.
That's probably for the better, if you will. Anyway, yeah, I was at 3XW last night, baby. It was a great show. The opening match saw one of my favorite wrestlers, probably my favorite Black and Brave graduate of all time, Regal. I gotta say he's my favorite. It was JP Finger going up against Mike Seidel in the opening match.
Really? You like JP?
I'm a big fan of JP Finger.
You know who JP reminds me of, Dusty?
Who's that?
Reminds me of that Boogie Woogie man, Jimmy Valiant.
I can see it, yeah.
He comes out dancing, doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, he wrestled Mike Seidel.
He tried to kiss me once, too, just like Jimmy Valiant used to always kiss Tony Schiavone.
Did he really?
Yeah.
That's crazy, Regal. Anyways, yep, so that was the opening match, and then we had a 6-man tag. JT Energy, Delicious Devin Carter, and my second favorite Black and Brave graduate, Jossie, took on the team of Gil Rogers, my man, Luke Langley, and the Buns of Steel Superfly. 6-man tag action. That was an exciting one. And then for the Midwest tag titles, the Iceman and the Master Magician, they took on Midwest Blood, and Midwest Blood broke up last night, Regal.
They did.
Johnny Ruckus is a bad man. Super kicked his partner in the face.
Well, maybe he got. I don't know. I'm pretty tight with Johnny Ruckus. I haven't talked to him. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why he turned on Lars Metzger.
I don't know. I don't know either. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Anyways, since the next what was the next match? Oh, so you know how Jefe Barbosa, he's been having problems with Chris Manning?
Yeah.
Well, Chris Manning had an opponent for Jefe Barbosa, and it was none other than Copperhead Duke Cornell. Copperhead Duke Cornell, he beat Barbosa, but then he turned on Manning and gave him a black eye. React, Regal, this is big news.
Why does everybody in 3X like to beat up Chris Manning? I don't get it.
I don't understand. I think he's one of the best photographers in wrestling. I wish he could have took my pictures.
I agree.
I'm gonna try to book him for the. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna book him for Pearly Gates. Not yet, anyways. Anyway, I'm trying to think what else we got. Some. Then after intermission, they had Donnie Pepper Crickets versus the winner of the American Dream Scholarship, Rich Maxwell. The scholarship in my honor. Did you know about that, Regal?
No, I didn't know that.
You didn't know that Cody had the American Dream Scholarship?
Oh, I remember hearing something about that. Yeah.
Yeah, Rich Maxwell won that.
Okay.
And so he had a match against Donnie Pepper Crickets. I don't remember who won that one. And then there's new tag team champions in 3XW.
I saw that.
The Yacht Club. Randy A. Desire had a concussion and was not cleared to compete, so Brady had to defend the titles in a handicap match. And the Yacht Club picked up the victory.
What do you think of that little Nate kid?
He's definitely my favorite SoundCloud rapper.
Your favorite SoundCloud rapper, huh?
By default, because he's the only SoundCloud rapper I know. I do like the captain. Is there Jason Strife defended his title in a 10-man scramble. He defended against John West, Chainsaw King, Red Wing the Barbarian with The Rock, Taven Whisper, the Unicorn, Xander Killen, both Sentais, 2 Sentais, Moondog Bernard with the 7-star mind, Alex McCarthy, Nikki Sent. Shit, I can't forget the 10th guy. I remembered all but one. Did I say Jason Strife?
Yeah, you said. Well, Jason Strife was in it. You said, but that might be the 10th.
Jason Strife, John West, Chainsaw King, Red Wings the Barbarian, Xander Killian, Nikki Sant, both Sentais, Moondog Bernard. I can't remember the last one.
Either way, moving on, Dusty. Who won the match?
Bothering me. Jason Strife. But it's bothering me. I can't remember the 10th one. I said Taven Whisper. I forgot Taven Whisper the second time, but I didn't count Jason Strife the first time. That's what I did. Anyways, yeah. Honestly, Regal. Honestly, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I never lied to you. I'm being honest with you. Best scramble match I've ever seen live.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Just really well put together.
Cool.
Everything worked.
Good deal.
And then the main event was Moondog. Mad Dog, Moondog in the main event. Anyway, that's maybe that.
The main event was Moondog versus Thunder Lizard Body Slam Challenge 2.
No, baby. No, baby. No, baby. No. To quote the great PN News, no, baby. No, baby. No. Oh, the Dream couldn't handle that. Jesus, Regal. Oh, shit. Mad Dog, not Moondog. Mad Dog. This is about dogs in 3XW. What are we going to see? Yellow Dog versus Moondog in the dog collar match. Anyways, he challenged for the title against Niles Plunkett.
Niles Plunkett, the guy that likes his wine, I guess is.
Yeah.
But
like wine, I
unfortunately saw that Niles Plunkett did retain the 3XW title.
Yeah, Rich Maxwell got involved. I think Duke Cornell might have got involved too. I think that Snake Pit got involved.
Oh, that's what's going on. All right.
I think so.
But what all did you think of the show, Dust?
I enjoyed it. Good time. Always have a good time at 3XW. Alex did commentary on the scramble. Could have done without that. Nothing fair that 7-star mind. Kind of a prick.
You don't like the 7-Star Mind Academy?
No, well, I don't mind the Moondog, but that Alex McCarthy, he's kind of a prick.
Well, yeah. I mean, he leaves the room whenever you show up on a podcast. I don't get it.
He's afraid of me.
Is that the deal?
Yeah, that's it, baby.
All right.
He is smart, though. I'll give him that.
All right.
All right,
Well,
Regal.
all right, Dust. You gonna get on at it? You gonna come back later at the end of the show?
I can go back and do the plugs.
All right. Thanks, Dust.
Absolutely, Regal.
Alex, what's going on,
So,
man? Dusty,
Dusty just came in. Dusty came in here running, pushed me away from the mic, took my headphones, and I had never seen Dusty run before.
And then
He said Nigel McGuinness was chasing the dream.
Yes, he was. And then the dream proceeded to bury you.
He did?
He said he doesn't like you for 3XW. He said he doesn't like the 7-star mind.
No, the dream. Dusty loves me.
I don't know. We'll have to see what's going on with that. But
Dusty loves me.
So, hey, did you hear about this thing?
I don't know. What's this thing?
That after the All Elite Wrestling rally, of course, there was a SmackDown Live going on.
Oh, yeah.
And a few people, some people that I kind of actually I've met, Scrump and some of the guys from Pro Wrestling Tees, who of course were at the All Elite Wrestling rally because they are the official merchandise provider of All Elite Wrestling. You can get all of your All Elite Wrestling merchandise at ProWrestlingTees.com. They should sponsor us. I've got an All Elite Wrestling shirt that is actually on its way here right now. I'm tracking the DHL shipping. It's supposed to be here by Wednesday, so I will have a new shirt to wear hopefully next weekend.
Please do not wear it to the Prestige Rumble.
Why?
You will get so much shit. I don't want to be there for all the shit you would get if you wore a fucking All Elite Wrestling shirt to Prestige.
No, there's just one person in particular that likes to give me shit. Regal, your fucking smart fuck bullshit.
I don't think you'd be the only one giving you shit if you showed up in an All Elite Wrestling shirt.
It's happening. You know it's happening.
But they're making their mark, and his name is Timothy Regal.
You see that on the camera?
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm not looking. I'm playing a game.
You're number one, Alex.
I know.
But no, some acquaintances, Scrump and the boys from Pro Wrestling Tees, we're gonna go to SmackDown. They're wrestling fans just like everybody else, and of course they're in line to get in and are told by WWE security that they are not allowed.
No, you're misreporting it already.
I am. Help me out.
It was building security. It was not WWE security.
Okay, building security told them that they cannot come into the building wearing All Elite Wrestling merchandise.
Yeah.
So they were not the only ones told this. It sounds like it was a miscommunication. I know there were a few fans that were wearing some of the Young Bucks. I'm assuming probably the Nick and Matt Jacksonville shirts. That were sitting on the hard cam side in the first couple rows that were given WWE shirts to cover themselves. Because, and I've heard that's pretty much the practice, that if you're wearing a shirt that, if you're on the hard cam, if you're not on the hard cam, they probably don't give two shits. But if you're on the hard cam and you're wearing a shirt that they don't like, they will generally give you some free WWE merch to put on. Which a lot of people say, well, it's WWE being petty. It's like, no, WWE has a brand that they're trying to build, and I actually understand that they want their crowd to look a certain way. So, and it's one of those things, hey, if WWE wants to give you a shirt, if you're at a WWE show, there's obviously somebody on the roster that you like. and especially on SmackDown, you got AJ, you got Shinsuke, you got Rusev. Tell them just go to the frickin' merch stand and pick out a shirt that you want, and they're probably and hell, if they're giving it to you for free, that's actually a pretty damn good tactic.
Yeah.
If I was a fan that had a hard cam seat, I would try to wear a shirt that they didn't like to try to get some free merch.
You wear your off the chest of Timothy Regal shirt.
Unfortunately, those do not exist
Yet.
That should happen.
That should be a goal for 2019. We need to get some merch. We need to get Mark, John, Matt, Doug, and Thomas to buy our shirt.
The 4 people that would actually buy our shirt.
Oh, did Zach buy the shirt?
Zach would buy a shirt from us. Yeah. We should do that, and I need to get somebody to make me a Pure Regal logo. Pure Regal episode 2 coming this week.
Yeah, I could probably do it, Regal.
Fingers crossed on that one. Haven't recorded it yet. So.
He's ignoring me. I can make you a logo.
Oh, really?
Maybe the Slam Fam one.
Oh, that's right. You did, didn't you?
Yeah.
I
do very basic things. I'm not great, but I can make things that look clean and nice.
You're no Chris Huffman.
No, and I don't pretend to be. Average at best.
Now, Alex, while you were, like I said, we talked about Impact a little bit. While you were at the 3XW show, I was at home watching Impact Wrestling on their debut on Twitch on the Pursuit channel. And
so here's my question: do you get Pursuit commercials?
No, between in the commercial breaks on the global, they basically run like the little clips. Like you've watched the Twitch stream before, before you had the Global Wrestling Network, when they would do the little quick hit things like the top 5s and stuff like that. They actually run those. They run like the hidden gem stuff. That was pretty funny during, of course, the first commercial break. They went to a Global Wrestling Network classic moment, and it was a promo that is pretty well known that starts out with, they say all men are created equal, but you look at me, you look at Samoa Joe, and you can see that it's simply not true.
Wasn't he taping too?
Yes, he was. But no, for the first commercial break on Twitch, they showed the infamous "I got 133 and 2/3 chance of winning" promo, which is arguably one of the greatest promos in wrestling history. They ran like they did some stuff. They showed a clip of the Broken Universe during one commercial. I did find funny during one commercial break they showed a hidden gem match from TNA Explosion of all things, and it was Elix Skipper taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. Yes, wow. That Shinsuke Nakamura. And everybody literally, Twitter explodes with basically the same thought that I had is, wait a minute, you mean to tell me that Impact Wrestling had Shinsuke Nakamura and they made him wrestle on Explosion? David Bixton's band tweeted something about it, and I tweeted a response that basically went, bro.
Was he that good then, though?
He was Shinsuke. He was awesome in the ring. The one thing I will say for that era, and I actually discussed this with a few people last night, is that era Shinsuke wasn't the Shinsuke Nakamura that we would get. He hadn't developed the persona yet. He hadn't developed the rock star, flash, the movements, that stuff. He would come out in basically like a cloak with a hood on. And basically this was still face of Inokiism of Shinsuke Nakamura. But he was still Shinsuke. But of course I did the, bro, we'll put these New Japan guys on Explosion because nobody cares, bro.
Well, also wasn't the thought that they didn't get him very often, did they?
Well, keep in mind, they had Okada on Excursion for a couple months, and of course, they gave him a Kato gimmick. Not
Like the
ketogenic, not like
diet?
no, not keto, not the keto diet. No, Kato from the Green Hornet.
I don't know what that is.
Like he was like the kung fu sidekick basically for the Green Hornet.
Okay.
They gave him that type of a gimmick. They had I know they had Team No Limit, which was Yujiro Takahashi and Tetsuya Naito on as a tag team. They had a few other people. The only real match from that era of New Japan Impact working together that I remember was the Tanahashi AJ match, which I
Okay.
think most people have seen. They air that on the Twitch stream. If you ever watch the Impact Twitch stream, they air that on the Twitch stream. It seems like a lot. I've caught it like 3 times. Um, but because it was a TNA pay-per-view. I want to say it was a turning point maybe where they had Hiroshi Tanahashi versus AJ Styles, and the match is pretty damn good. But no, for the most part I enjoyed the Impact show. My complaint with Impact, essentially for this episode, is probably one of the same complaints I've had with Impact Wrestling, regardless of what era it was, which is if you have a 2-hour show, you need to put the focus on your in-ring product. You have 2 hours. You're not WWE. You don't have 15 hours of television per week that you can program people onto. You have 2 hours to try to get your roster over. And I've always said the best way to do that is bell to bell. I mean, obviously you're going to have promos, you're going to have storylines, but keep those promos brief, keep them quick, and get to the action in the ring. Essentially, you got to you have to maximize the time that you have. And I still thought.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You had something you want to add?
Oh, I had a question for you. I want you to finish your thought first, though.
If you have 2 hours of TV to get your entire roster over, I mean, you gotta maximize it. Like I said, keep it really quick, keep the action in the ring going. I felt like, and I understand you're coming off a pay-per-view, so you're going to be setting up new storylines and stuff like that. But I felt like the opening promo went way too long. Then of course you go from the opening promo, you go to a commercial break, you come back to another backstage promo, and we're 15, 20 minutes into a 2-hour show before the first match is in the ring. And then later on in the show, you have another in-ring promo segment with Scarlett Bordeaux, which, I mean, I don't think anybody complained about that per se, but
yeah, sure. No, I'm sure not.
I mean, Alex, I mean, you groan, but that's Scarlett Bordeaux is something that people. I mean, that's a literal, pun intended. That's a hot act. So
yeah. Question.
Go ahead.
My question is, did they have any more of the alleged quote unquote sexy edge that Don Callis promised?
Scarlett Bordeaux segment was basically it was called the Smoke Show Striptease, and she basically did a old WWE or late 90s, early 2000s where she had on some extremely revealing lingerie, to which of course these guys, the Desi Hit Squad. I don't know if you've seen them. One of them
That's why I said when you said the Desi Hit Squad.
One of them is a guy we're very familiar with. I didn't realize it at first. I'm like, oh wait, that's Hakeem Zane. Yeah.
Okay.
Hakeem Zane.
I'm not sure that I realized Hakeem Zane was in the Desi Hit Squad.
Hakeem Zane is one of the guys that's in it, and of course it is led.
A different name.
I think they might have changed his name. But the Great Gama is the manager of them. For those of you those unaware, that is the uncle, I want to say, of Jinder Mahal, and obviously a longtime friend of Don Callis. But basically, they tried to get them over as heels by having them do the gimmick where they came out and tried to stop the Smoke Show Striptease, and then this brought out Big Papa Pump, Scott Steiner, who I believe essentially they've said was there for a surprise for something special for the new network. To which, of course, Scott being Scott, he pulls up a chair in the middle of the ring so he gets a front row seat to the smoke show striptease. I mean, the segment was fun, but when you're taking, again, 15 minutes of your airtime to run this, it's how much time can we spend, how can we use that time more efficiently by adding maybe another match and shortening that segment up to maybe 5 or 6 minutes. It's just, I feel like they're not maximizing them. Now, the matches that they had were all quality. Lucha Bros versus Wentz and Xavier, which,
oh wow,
gee, I feel like I've seen that match before.
A-dub.
Sammy Callahan versus Willie Mack.
They had a great match at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, they did.
Did you watch the pay-per-view?
I watched parts of the pay-per-view, and I've seen clips of the pay-per-view. I didn't see the whole thing yet.
Okay.
Tessa Blanchard versus a girl who I don't even think they gave her name. Basically, essentially an enhancement match. And then a main event of Killer Cross versus Johnny Mundo. This actually,
really?
Yeah.
They gave that away already.
Yeah, well, again, you're first night on a new network. You're trying, and you're building a story basically. And then you set up the opening where Johnny, of course, comes out madder than holy hell because, Killer Cross attacked Taya at the pay-per-view, and he wants revenge. And so he takes him out. They brawl. Main event. I'm really impressed with Killer Cross. I was
curious what your opinion of him was. Yeah.
I like the look. I like his mic skills. I like the persona. Doug Ritter was in attendance in the front row, and he had never seen Killer Cross before. And he was really impressed. So
no limits.
Obviously, they're strapping the rocket to Killer Cross in Impact Wrestling. I'm really interested because Scarlett teased that next week she was going to reveal who won her talent search competition. The smart money on that would be Killer Cross because they already work together in AAA in Mexico, and I think that would definitely make them a super hot.
Scarlett works AAA?
Yeah, she's been managing Killer Cross in AAA for a couple months now.
Oh.
You didn't know that?
No.
I mean, granted, I am the Scarlett Bordeaux expert of this podcast, obviously, but
yeah, on the podcast,
I might be one of the leading foremost Scarlett Bordeaux experts in the entire world. Let's be honest. I love my smoke show. Everybody knows that. But no, like I said, the matches were good. I'm really interested to see next week. Doug said they taped 2 weeks of shows, and Doug Ritter did say that some of this, that there were some really good. He was really impressed by all the guys' work. So, I mean, there might be some presentation issues, but I feel like Impact, everybody works really hard. I mean, obviously, you saw the whole pay-per-view. Would you kind of echo that sentiment, I think?
Absolutely. Without a doubt. I think every match on the pay-per-view was at least good. I would say the match I was least interested in was okay at best. But yeah. It's a great time. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. Did you watch this week's ROH yet?
I did.
With Dak Draper on it?
Not that I.
Oh, it's not on Honor Club until Monday, is it?
He's probably on this weekend's episode on Sinclair. I get that on Monday.
Okay, so is that, I get that on Monday too on Fight?
Yeah, you get it Monday at 6 o'clock on Fight. I get it Monday morning on Honor Club. So.
Well, aren't you special? I'll be working Monday morning anyways.
Well, I am too. The one thing I love about Honor Club is I don't get the damn Fight TV randomly inserted commercials.
You've complained about that before. They don't seem that poorly put to me. They seem like they're timed right. So I wonder if something changed.
I wonder if they got better at it because there was one they used to be randomly every 12 minutes or something, and like one of them literally happened right in the middle of a finish of a match, and I was
Or maybe Ring of Honor is better at timing their commercials on their show so it lines up when Fight puts them in.
maybe that might
That
be
could be it too.
either
Yeah.
way, but no. But yeah, no, that'll be available on Monday for everybody that wants to check it out. Nah,
I'm excited for him. He's a good dude.
Yeah,
You don't think so?
I've actually never met.
Oh, fuck you.
I've actually never met Dak Draper. From what I've seen on social media, we've actually interacted on social media a couple times. He seems like a really good guy. So no, whatever. There's the little thing with me with Dak, but no, he seems like he's a great guy. I hope he's a great guy. Let's put it that way.
He is.
Um,
Unlike you.
no, I'm just slightly petty. Let's just put it that way.
Slightly. Woof.
But no, no, it's been a fun week, and of course, thankfully I was off today, and with it being snowing like
Would you have gone to work today?
This morning, if I would have had to be there at 7, probably not. No, I probably would have taken a day off if I had to go to work. But thankfully, I didn't have to go to work, so I could just sit at home and watch the snow fall and did a little.
Did you yoga today?
Of course, I did my DDP yoga today.
Of course.
You know who else should sponsor us? DDP Yoga.
Yeah.
Dallas, get
Start
on.
working on those sponsors, Regal.
Yeah. But no, DDP definitely should sponsor us. No, I did my DDP yoga. I mean, I guess I haven't really given the listeners an update lately. I'm down. Under 50, or over 50 for weight loss at this point. I'm feeling great. I am definitely getting stronger and more flexible. Actually, today was a milestone. It was a little tricky, but I got down on the mat for the first time. So, got down on the mat and did some stuff on the mat. So we're getting there. It's a process, and I keep doing it, and I feel probably better than I have. Alex, would you say I'm definitely more mobile and better moving than in the time you've met me?
Yeah.
So I mean,
You're the most mobile you've ever been since I've known you.
It's working, and I keep at it every single day. Well, pretty much just about every day. I'm honestly trying to get myself to do 2-a-days. The only problem is with me, my schedule is doing 2-a-days means I have to get out of bed about 4:45 in the morning, which that's not fun. But no, it's been a good process, and yeah, I've had some people reach out to me, and I appreciate everybody that does. I know it's kind of becoming the running joke of, hey, Regal did DDP yoga because he posted about it on social media, but hey, there's a reason everybody posts their workouts on social media. It's because they're keeping themselves ice. Well, I finally figured it out that it's all about keeping yourself accountable as well as keeping letting everybody else know. So, no, we're doing good. But no, I got up, I did some DDP yoga, made myself a nice breakfast, watched a little. What did I watch this morning? Oh, I'm still trying to get through the Beyond Wrestling show from New Year's Eve.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah. I watched MJF versus, is it Chris Statlander?
Yeah.
Was
that your first time seeing her?
Yes, she is phenomenal.
Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah,
I've seen her at least 2 or 3 times now.
I love the alien gimmick.
Yeah.
The gimmick definitely got over with me. So, and of course, she's working MJF, so it's definitely a fun match. But no, first time I'd seen her, and yeah, super impressed. I know she's booked for Black Label, so kind of gonna hope that in March we may get a chance to see her live.
Absolutely.
Which that was an exciting part of the week, Alex.
Yeah, we got tickets to go see Black Label Pro on March 9th.
But that's not all we're seeing on March 9th.
Hey, it's Connor Thompson, and you're listening to Something to Wrestle With, Bruce Pritchard.
That's right. We're gonna go hang out with Bruce and Conrad.
the second greatest podcast tag team in the world, right after everybody's favorite podcast tag team.
Alex McCarthy and Gary Freeland.
That sounds like a good podcast tag team.
That would be a good podcast tag team. Did I just flub my own joke? I think I did.
Yeah, you sure did. I was going to say John Pollock and Wai Ting, but then you said Alex McCarthy and Gary Freeland, so I'll just take that. That's fine.
Wow, I can't even say my own punchline right without flubbing to that.
Funny. That is so funny.
But you said you fell asleep during the main event, but dude, really quick, I want to close out. Let's talk about what happened early. Of course, the big thing happened today. NXT UK Takeover Blackpool. And we've both on this, I think we've said on the show, and I've said it many times on social media, that I had fallen so far behind on the weekly NXT UK TV show because them putting out 2 episodes on the same day that NXT and 205 Live came out just made it so insurmountable to try to watch. Also, Wednesday, also the day that you get SmackDown on Hulu. So if I want to watch SmackDown, that's an hour and a half. Essentially, it had hit the point where WWE programming on Wednesday, there's, if you count the Hulu, hour and a half, 4 and a half, almost 5 hours of programming on Wednesday. WWE. And it's just, so the 2-hour shows just got to be too much, but I think a lot of people, and I feel like this could help them, I've always said you can kind of use takeovers as a jumping point.
Yeah.
So if you fall out, you can kind of jump back in on that stuff. And I felt like this show, definitely more than the hour-long TV shows, really showed what this NXT UK brand is capable of doing.
I love what Wai Ting said about it this week. He said the takeover is kind of like a best of special. So you're kind of seeing like who your best people are. I got to be honest with you, Regal. I don't ever see myself getting to the point where I keep up with this brand, even if they go back to every week. But I was talking in Ringside Chat today. I feel like I'm just kind of peppering my wrestling intake now. Like I'll watch an episode of MLW sometimes. Sometimes I'll watch Ring of Honor. I don't really. There is not a single brand right now that I watch religiously or with any kind of regularity. And I know you watch way too much fucking wrestling.
I do.
So you watch more promotions than I do, and you manage to keep up with them all.
What are you doing?
My laptop is dying, and my microphone is falling off of the.
Forgive the feedback there for a second, because Alex had to plug in his laptop, or else the show was going to end prematurely. And we don't want to ever be premature on the Off the Chest of Timothy Regal podcast.
My brother was premature.
Oh, wow.
It was like 6 weeks early. It was really scary. What?
Are you kayfabing, or did you legitimately not get that?
Oh, you're talking about sex, you sick old man. God.
We don't.
The wrestling podcast. Nobody wants to hear us talk about sex.
I wish somebody wanted to hear me talk about sex.
Well, not on the podcast.
That was a podcast me and Kat were gonna do at one point. No.
Get a screen grab of my face right now. What's up, honey?
Hi, Margaret.
No, we're not done. We're still recording.
Still?
Yeah. Well, it's only been, it's about not even been an hour.
But no, like you said, he said, like you quoted Wai and said it was NXT takeovers are a best of special, and I definitely feel like this is what we got in this show. Especially the opening match. I mean, the tag team titles, the grizzled young vets, Zach Gibson and Oh God, who's the other guy?
James Drake.
James Drake. I always
Yeah.
get confused because there's actually two James Drakes. There's the one
I was
that's
really confused because I didn't realize there was two James Drakes.
because
So
there's a James Drake, the James Drake that is the Evolve Heavyweight Champion, and then there's the James
and then
Drake
there's the
that's
James Drake that looks like Dalton Castle.
yeah. James Drake and Zach Gibson taking on Mustache Mountain of Tyler Bate and Trent Seven. Tyler Bate and Trent Seven, of course, instantly pop me because they come out in the gear that is a tribute to the British Bulldogs, Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid. Um, I did get quote tweeted by our good friend Darnell Mitchell because I said, as great as I love the fact that they're wearing British Bulldogs inspired gear, I know Darnell is unhappy because he could not see the legs of Tyler Bate.
Tyler
Uh,
Bate.
can,
Yeah.
can we, before we even talk about that, can we talk about first of all, the UK, the one thing I will say for NXT UK, their buildings that they film in are all amazingly cool looking.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's just the way the arenas and the theaters are set up in England, but they look way cooler than just basically.
Well, I feel like WWE tries to homogenize their venues. They do
Well,
that.
they
I feel like they do that themselves. They try to make it look like it's the same place every week.
especially Raw and SmackDown. They
Oh my
try to
god.
make.
Well, like even MSG, they used to look unique because the hard cam side entrances, and
Yeah,
then they stopped doing that.
yeah. They don't even do
Like
it for
that's to me, that's what made it MSG. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like that's what made it the Garden.
Well, MSG did get refitted a couple years ago, and I think that may not exist anymore. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
they haven't had TV in MSG in years.
was the last thing they did in MSG, was that the network special?
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't do TV in MSG anymore.
No, but all of the venues that NXT UK runs in look unique. And then obviously the UK crowd. I mean, there's I actually accused NXT UK of being a watered down, mass marketed version of Progress Wrestling on social media this week. And I still feel like this is, but this crowd was definitely into it. They were UK style crowd all the way. If anybody out there, all right there.
Yeah. I kind of don't like it.
You don't like the chants, the soccer style, and the crowd interaction?
Interaction? What interaction?
Well,
They're just entertaining themselves.
you don't like the Tyler Bate chants and the.
I like that. I like some of them, but I just think it's too much.
What's the thing with? Can somebody explain to me what the thing with the shoes is?
I think it's too much. Half the time I can't understand them. Yeah, I know this isn't the popular take, but I just don't get it. And maybe I'll get it eventually, but I don't know. To me, it just seems like they're all drunk and they're trying to get themselves over.
Well, but no. As far as the show goes, and like I said, the opening match, Grizzled Young Vets versus Mustache Mountain. I think they absolutely just they picked the right match to open the show. They knew these guys went out there, knew they were going out there to kind of show what NXT UK was all about and what they were all about. And I rated this match a 4.5. If I go back and watch this again, I may push that rating to 5. Because it was freaking awesome. It was hard hitting. It was fast paced. Trent Seven got busted open in the back of the head from a looked like a legitimate elbow shot to the back of his head.
Yeah.
Some of the spots they did, the dive to the chicken fight.
Oh, the diving Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, the Tupe Suicida Doomsday device.
I loved that. That was fucking cool.
Of course, the spot and one of the spots I always love in a match like this, where Tyler Bate and Trent Seven are both in submission holds, and they grab each other's arm to keep the other one from tapping out.
I was thinking about that. I actually was talking to a friend of the podcast, Sensei Bach, as we were both watching it, not together, obviously. But to me, like, does the ref know who's legal at that point? Because what if the non-legal man taps?
I mean,
and then
they had been brawling at that point for so long, so I think it kind of went into
right. But I'm saying, like, if the referee doesn't know who's legal, couldn't there be an argument that the non-legal man tapped, so it's not actually the finish?
Well, I mean, obviously, but I mean, and you know that's not the finish. But the one of my spots that made me pop the hardest was when Bate picked up I think it was James Drake in the fireman's carry, and then basically Death Valley drivered him into Zach Gibson to break the submission hold.
Yeah, I liked that too.
That one was awesome. Obviously the double picking up both guys for an airplane spin. I tweet out, how freaking insanely strong is Tyler Bate?
Right.
That guy just freaky strength. He's. I mean, if you ever see like I think he's posted some Instagram videos of him like working out, stuff like that. Definitely a guy who just there's not a lot of body fat. There is no body fat on that kid.
Mm-hmm.
He's so obviously just super strong for his size, and picked up both guys and put them in an airplane spin, and pretty amazing. But no, like I said, I gave that match 4.5 stars, and if I go back and rewatch it, I may give it 5. It was that good, and probably the best match on the show. And I saw, I know you, my buddy Craig, who had literally never, he tweeted out he had never seen NXT UK before, but he'd seen obviously Mustache Mountain and Pete Dunne and those guys on especially with the regular NXT shows they'd done. So he was familiar with enough of the guys that he watched the show, and of course he watched the Mae Young Classic, so he wanted to see the Rhea Ripley versus Toni Storm match. But he was absolutely off the page for this opening tag match, and I don't think he'd ever seen the Grizzled Young Vets before. So, next Banks versus Gibson. Or Banks versus Devlin?
No, it was Eddie. Wasn't it Eddie Dennis and Dave Mastiff?
I want to say Banks and Devlin was the.
I think you could be right. You could be right, yeah.
But yeah, up next was Travis Banks and Jordan Devlin. I don't know if Travis Banks was legitimately injured, but it seemed like this.
I would hope he was.
Because essentially they do a thing where he gets beat down before the show on the pre-show. He comes out, they brawl on the outside before the bell even rings. He gets quote unquote injured. They take him out, and Johnny Saint and who is this kid with Johnny Saint? Johnny Saint,
the one who memorizes his lines for him.
Apparently, Johnny Saint's personal assistant, who does all the talking for him. Which, I mean, that's an interesting point in and of itself.
According to John, from listening to John and Way, it sounds like Johnny just has less lines every week, and Sid Scala has been taking over his lines for him.
Oh, Johnny Saint.
And I hadn't been watching the show. I thought Sid Scala was the African American kid with the fro who was the interviewer. So then when I saw it, I was like, who's this other kid with? And that was Sid Scala.
If Johnny Saint is this bad at being a GM, can't we have like Robbie Brookside or somebody do it? I understand.
Well, Robbie Brookside's based in the U.S., isn't he?
Yeah, and I understand Johnny Saint is British wrestling.
He's also a freaking god in British wrestling.
Yeah, he is. He is. Johnny Saint, Johnny Kidd, Big Daddy, those were the original guys who basically, made British wrestling the style that it became. And I understand that Johnny essentially is there to be the ceremonial figurehead. But yeah, now you have this assistant general manager. Essentially, Johnny just comes out and stands there and stare and glares at people while the other guys.
They basically give Johnny one line and have Sid cut the rest of the GM promo.
Exactly. But they come out, they say, hey, we had an idea you were going to do this, so we had somebody on standby, and of course this brings out, and I'm like, I kind of had a feeling I knew where they were going to go with that.
Well, it's funny because if you were in the chat and ringside chat, the discussion, somebody's like, oh, it's going to be Walter, but as soon as Jordan Devlin said he was the best wrestler in Ireland, I was like, no, it's Balor.
Well, and there's the story of, obviously, Jordan Devlin started his training with Finn Balor. Jordan Devlin is from Great County, Whitlow, Ireland, the same hometown as Finn Balor. I loved, and when they started wrestling, I think it was John Pollock that tweeted out that their gear was essentially the same, just reversed. Finn had black gear with white boots, and Jordan Devlin had white gear with black boots.
Yep.
So it was essentially a teacher versus student match. The match itself was fine. I gave it I think 3.5.
I love my favorite part of the match was Jordan Devlin goes, You're a great coach, but you're only a good wrestler.
Yeah.
When he, during the heat, that was my favorite. I was like, oh, fuck yeah.
And Jordan Devlin has that asshole-ish persona that everybody loves to hate. So I definitely enjoyed that part of it. And like I said, and I said this, it was great to see Finn on this show because Finn is one of the guys who helped lead that second charge, basically led the rebirth of British wrestling a few years ago. So having him on this show, which kind of made, everything come full circle, I think, for the first takeover, I think it kind of, especially wrestling as student, I think it really was a nice touch.
Because he wrestled Aleister Black on the first UK tournament.
Yeah, he did. I completely forget that he did that too. But no, I thought this was a good match and a nice moment for Finn, and I'm sure for Devlin to be able to wrestle each other. But no, up next was Dave Mastiff and Eddie Dennis. Two guys I'm a huge fan of. I love Dave Mastiff.
Me too. I loved the Vader inspired gear tonight too.
Yeah, Vader inspired gear for Mastiff. Devlin, his gear was there was something with his gear, I think, that had some sort of significance, but I forget what it was.
I hated Eddie Dennis's gear.
Well, that's kind of his gimmick, is he wears the tank top, singlet, that kind of thing. But no, these guys in a hardcore match, just it was a plunder match. I mean, the kendo sticks, chairs, that kind of thing. I enjoyed it. Mastiff looked like a beast. The rolling senton on the floor when they pulled up the mat, I thought that was a pretty sickening thud. But I like this match, and obviously Mastiff gets over. I gave that 3 stars. Pretty good match. Nothing wrong with it. But I think now we get into basically the 2 matches I think that everybody kind of came into this the takeover event for. Toni Storm versus Rhea Ripley. Obviously, everybody knows what Tony's been going through, and I think they kind of made the right call here. I cannot get used to Tony's hair. I do want to say that. I did not know that she had changed her hairstyle into the straight hair with bangs. I said she looks like Candice LeRae's Australian cousin. But Rhea Ripley, I have said it. I think this young lady is a megastar. She's only 20 years old, I believe.
Wow.
She is tall, built. There is and has a presence about her. She essentially, to me, is the NXT version of Becky Lynch. So I think it's only in a couple of years that she's going to be at the top of the women's division in WWE. This match I thought was great. Obviously they just kept building it up that, that Rhea's this huge unstoppable force, and then out of nowhere Tony hits her with the power bomb and then pins her. And the crowd just gave Tony the ovation she definitely deserves. And I thought it was it's great that WWE, I don't want to make it political, but is standing by Tony 100% and giving her the support that she needs, since, what old fuckheads on Twitter can't seem to behave themselves and force this poor young lady to leave social media over something that was not her fault. So, but no, great match, great story. I kind of wonder, you think there might be a main roster call up for Rhea Ripley coming?
I don't know.
It would not surprise me if Rhea Ripley was in the Women's Royal Rumble.
I could see that, but that also doesn't equate a call up.
No, but I think I definitely could see her being put in the Women's Royal Rumble, because I think they're pretty high on her. Then there was the main event, Joe Coffey versus the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne. What is it, 601 days we're at now?
I thought it was more than that, but could be.
I thought they said 600 longest championship reign in WWE in the modern era, since Hulkamania, essentially, or 800 days, 801 days, I think is what it is. But I've seen a lot of people that said they didn't really like this match. I love this match. It was hard hitting.
A lot of Twitter hated it.
I think Twitter didn't like it because they went long. They went about 35 minutes, I believe. So okay. I think if you would have cut some time out and tightened it up, I think people would have liked it a lot more. But I'm a huge fan of both of these guys, so I really enjoyed the match. The spot where they both went off the top rope to the floor, that was pretty hard. I do think I guarantee the ref probably got something in his IFD toward the finish, because I feel like the finish sequence came about pretty quick. But no, I enjoyed the match. I give it 4 stars. I've seen a lot of people that didn't like it. I thought it was great.
For the most part, Regal, do you find your ratings are higher than average on Grapple or lower?
I feel like I'm right on par. Obviously there's been some stuff I've rated higher than the mean. Some stuff I rated lower than the mean. Wrestling is like art. It's subjective. So.
Oh yeah.
But then of course, we get the whole thing. Everybody, they're celebrating. The graphic comes up just like every NXT UK NXT Takeover special ever. The graphic comes up, and then all of a sudden, we think we're going off the air, and then Pete Dunne celebrating, and then
did he use that music?
Yes, he did, because it is public domain music. And at that point, the crowd in Blackpool goes absolutely insane. And Walter shows up, and I immediately tweeted out, business just picked up because
Yeah.
Walter has officially showed up in NXT UK. To me, Walter is the only guy that can take that belt off of Pete Dunne and have it make sense at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Because Pete Dunne's literally beaten everybody on the NXT UK roster in his time.
Twice.
Most of them twice. So
Yeah.
Walter is there to take the belt. Walter is going to be the face of NXT UK because, and again, I think Pete Dunne is probably going to get a main roster call up eventually.
Yeah,
the guy's just too damn good. No, I obviously, and the second that the graphic came up, I was sitting there and I'm like, wait for it. And yeah, and then, yes, he still is using, the best part was the fact that they used the Dovrak Symphony 9 number 4, because it is classical public domain, so he can use it for entrance music on NXT UK. And like I said, I thought this was definitely, like you said, a great show, a best of. If they played the hits, and
real quick, did you see Vince McMahon tweeted, "Yes, I watched hashtag NXT UK Takeover. Yes, it was awesome."
Is that Vince just kind of throwing shade at the people on Twitter, on the social media that say, Vince doesn't watch this show. Vince has no.
There was a report that was proven false that said Vince McMahon has never seen NXT UK. Do you remember that?
I think so, yeah. No, Vince, I guarantee, he may not watch everything, but I guarantee Vince is watching. I guarantee he knows the guys that he likes.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me Vince McMahon doesn't take one look at Walter and go, I love him?
Yeah.
Because he's a freaking giant, I think, I've always used the quote to describe Walter of that you used, which is, when Walter walks out, you feel like there should be a black and white entrance.
Yeah, you feel like you shouldn't be able to see Walter in color.
Yeah, because he looks like he should be stepping off the pages of like 1950s pro wrestling, because he's this big giant guy who comes out in tights and no knee pads and boots and just proceeds to beat the crap out of someone and then put submission holds on them and stretch them to the point where they're probably a foot taller than they were when they started the match.
Dang, I want to wrestle Walter.
But no, I thought the show was great. Super fun. But hey Alex, you know what's coming up?
What?
The Hot Take Rumble.
Oh yeah. When is that?
That's gonna be on the episode in 2 weeks. So start getting your questions in for that Hot Take Rumble. Are we having them send them to Margaret again?
Yes.
What?
So that'll drop on January 20th. Wait, do we want to do it in 2 weeks, or do we want to do it next week? Because next week will be before the Rumble. 2 weeks will be after the Rumble.
I thought we recorded it. I thought we ran it. Well, because I want to give the people time to get their questions in. So you think 1 week?
I know.
You think 1 week's long enough?
You're probably right, but it just seems weird to do something like promoting the Rumble the week after the Rumble. Or the day, yeah.
Because
the Rumble's 27th.
Yeah, but would that also put the Hot Take Rumble as our 2-year anniversary show?
No, it wouldn't.
Okay, so that'll be the week after.
This is dropping on the 15th. That's 101. 22 is 102. 29 is 103. 104 will be our 2-year. Will be February 5th.
Okay, so now
on the Lunar New Year. The Lunar New Year, you know who we need to get for a guest?
Who?
On the Lunar New Year?
Space Monkey?
Amber Moon.
Oh, Amber Moon?
Yeah.
I was thinking Space Monkey because he's been to the moon.
All right. Briefly explain what the Hot Take Rumble is.
Hot Take Rumble, folks. Kind of like it's kind of like the Chesties, only a little different. Instead of sending us categories, you're gonna send us questions. We want your
or topics or
topics. We want your hard-hitting topics. Your controversial questions. Your and seriousness. Your hard-hitting questions. Your controversial topics. You send them to us.
And
we make a list.
Too. And some bullshit too.
That'll be some bullshit. But we make the list. 30 topics. We put a timer up. 2 minutes. Margaret moderates, and basically we go back and forth. It's kind of like if you ever watched PTI or anything like that. Basically, and we're gonna get it is the fastest hour of Off the Chest of Timothy Regal all year long, as opposed to this show, which if you're still listening to it, you congratulations. Anyway, that's about done for this week of Off the Chest of Timothy Regal. Hey, Dusty.
Follow us for coffee at One Real Smart Alex. Follow Margaret at Margaret and Dale. Follow Timothy Regal at SCW Regal 444. Follow the podcast and Off the Chest PR. Go ahead and follow us on Slam Fan Wrestling, WREST. Follow us on Instagram, Slam Fan Wrestling. Like the Slam Fan Wrestling Network on Facebook. We'll see you at the show.
Wow, Dusty talking really fast. Thank you, folks. See you next week.